Hey guys, it's me, LaserDude99 here. Now, the reason I'm sitting down is because I asked in one of my previous videos if there was anything that you guys thought that you would like me to try out, that you didn't like what I did, sort of thing. Anything that you thought I wasn't doing that well. And one person suggested, which has been suggested before, that I just sit down during my reviews. So I thought I'd give it a try, and that's why. Anyway, today I am reviewing Whatever Happened to the Caped Crusader. And I've been trying to do this review for a long time. I mean, I've just been, I said I'd do it in a video, and then I just couldn't do it, and then I just kept on putting it off, and then I just couldn't do it, and then now I'm doing it. Okay, here it is. Let's go. Now, this story, it dives into the death of Batman. Now, you see, this was based off of the story Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, written by Alan Moore. That story was the end of Superman, the last days of Superman. This is about the end of Batman. Now, when I first read this, I thought actually it was mixed in with Batman R.I.P. I thought this was actually how he died, about how he died, sort of thing. But then I read it, I'm like, what? This made no sense to me. Then I realized, then I read the interviews and stuff, and I thought, oh, okay, so it's not, it's different. So it was written by Neil Gaiman and drawn by Andy Kubert. That's his name, whatever. The story starts with people arriving for Batman's funeral. And you can hear Batman's thoughts. He has thought balloons, and he's watching this whole thing like he's watching a movie. And there's a voice with him. You hear a voice, and he says that it's a woman voice. And he's just watching all these people come to his funeral. And you got everyone. You got the Joker. You got Commissioner Gordon. And it's not like they're all standing together like, hey, you! Joker! It's the Joker! Grab him! Or something like that. They're all like, okay, we're all here at Batman's funeral. And it's a real odd way, but the way it's written is kind of... I like the way the villains are written. For example, Jervis Tetch, the Mad Hatter, invites Penguin to sit beside him. Which, I never really thought about that before. Since Penguin has a top hat, maybe he and the Mad Hatter would get along. And then people start telling their stories. And every story they tell is a different version of Batman's death. So, first up, Catwoman goes, and she tells her story of how Batman died. And one thing that's really predominantly shown here is that the guy who wrote this knew Batman's past. For example, when it shows Catwoman's story, it shows her with this ugly cat mask. And you would never see that in comics nowadays. But in Catwoman's first appearance in comics, that was the suit she had. She had an ugly cat mask with a yellow dress. And then after Catwoman's done telling her story, Alfred comes up, and he tells a completely different story of Batman's death. And Batman's trying to figure out what's happening, and while he's watching this. Now, the art style in this is I love it, honestly. Like, first, it starts with the villains driving up, and the different cars they have is pretty funny, especially Two-Face's. I find funny because on one side it's an all nice polished wax car, and in the other it looks like it went through a trash heap. Just the way these characters were drawn, and each vision is drawn differently. It's from the same artist, but you can see each tale of Batman's death is drawn differently. For example, one of them, Batman looks more like the Dick Spring Batman drawing. In others, he looks more like nowadays. It all depends on how it's drawn. In others, he looks more lame and and there's a scene where Joker is telling the story of the death of Batman, and he actually goes sad for a moment. And that exact scene, that exact shot, is drawn, copied, art for art from The Killing Joke, where Joker asks Batman, "Why can't you see the funny side?" or "Why can't you see the joke?" And they put that face that Joker made there and put it in that scene. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, maybe not a lot of people would have noticed, but it's there. It's there. They tell a lot of characters. Like, some characters tell a longer story when you thought, oh, why did they get to tell? Like, Joker's story is very short, which is sad, because I thought Joker's story of Batman's death would be the big one. You know, the big one. But, Clayface gets more time than him. Then you get Harvey Bullock and you get Ra's al Ghul, and you get all of them, and it's just a nice story of. See, the one thing that I read of the writer went in one of his interviews, or when he talked about this book, was the fact that Superman's story, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, his story ended with a wink, you know. That's how Superman's story ends. But he said this is a Batman story. Batman stories don't end with a wink. I'm not going to talk about the ending or who the woman was, because it's a nice. I don't want to give anything away here. The art in this story is really well done, and everything in it is, well, I like. They just have little tidbits. Like, for example, in this world where they're going to Batman's funeral, Joe Chill, who killed Bruce's parents, is tending the bar. He's the guy at the bar, and he said, you know, I was here at the beginning. I'm gonna be here for the end. What else? Oh. And it has a. I just like it. You know, it's well written. I don't think it's like, whoa, fantastic, but it is really interesting to read. And if you're a Batman fan, you should have this, because they have a lot of great artwork in it too. Like, you know the scene from Batman's very first comic book where he has a criminal by the chin and he's swinging. They have that drawn into modern version here. Oh, I love it. And it's this book, actually, this is the deluxe edition. It has a couple of other stories from the same writer. Like, one of them is Black and White World, where it it shows. It's kind of like you know those Wile E. Coyote cartoons where Wile E. Coyote and that sheepdog would walk in and he's like, "Hey Phil, hey Craig, all right," and they're punching their time clocks, and then they go to work and they all do the fight things, and then they go back and time's over, and then they punch out and say, "You look beat. Maybe you should have tomorrow off," sort of thing. They have that for in here, like where Joker's like, you know, when I told my mom that I wanted to be a comic book character, she freaked. She's like, no, you'll never get to work in that area, or stuff like that. And there's another story with Poison Ivy. I didn't really like that one that much. But there's another story that they have here with this guy trying to interview people villains, super villains. It's with the Riddler. I actually really like that too. This deluxe edition is something that I think every Batman fan should have, because it was really well written, and it's an intriguing read. It's not a action read. It's not a mind blowing read. It's an intriguing read. You know, it's not a page turner, but it's something like you're like, oh, that's nice, or something like that. You know, and that's my opinion. I really like it. So, Batman, Whatever Happened to the Caped Crusader. I think that this is a really good book. There, I did it. I reviewed the darn thing. You happy now? Gosh, I mean, just took forever to review the darn thing, and now it's reviewed. So I hope you are all happy. Bang. Alright, yeah, so remember, I'm LazyDude99. If I don't like it, it's not worth it. Adios, amigos.
Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon.